Daryl. So let's get started. The first thing I'll do is share screen so you can see my slide presentation. And most of the time, this is what you'll see. And so how is that looking? Are you seeing it okay?
Yeah, all
Yep.
good here.
Okay. So this is a presentation I gave in person, and it'll essentially be the same as if we were all together in the room. And I'm going to, run through the slides and the presentation. I'll take a break periodically to ask for questions, and we'll stop sharing screen and take a moment to clarify any points. We'll do that periodically during the talk. And so I understand we have 90 minutes, and there's quite a bit of material to cover, so I'll just jump right into it. So this will be a talk about settings on an Android phone. So the settings is an app on your phone, and it's like other apps, but it's essentially the control panel for your phone. And it's a very important app, and one that I use all the time, every day. So we won't go over the basics of how to use the phone and a lot of Android basics. Uh, Throughout the year, there are talks on Android basics, plus other special talks on your Android smartphone. But this talk will be focused on that one app, the Android settings app. I broke it into 5 parts. We'll start with an overview. And then very important is navigating Android settings, and I'll talk more about that later. Then I'll get into individual settings, which I break into 2 categories, important and often used. And we'll talk about a couple dozen settings in those 2 parts of the talk. So part 1, the overview. So as I said, settings is an app. It's the control panel for your phone. Uh, it's how you personalize your phone. Examples are they display intensity, the brightness, how to connect your phone, your smartphone, your handheld computer, how to connect it to a Wi-Fi network, how to control your sounds and ringtones, and lots of other things to make it a personal device. So settings has this little icon, the universal icon for settings, a gear wheel. The settings app will be among your apps, or I have it on my home screen because I use it a lot, but look for that little gear wheel among your many dozens of other apps. That's your settings app. And like any other app, you tap it to open, and there you go. So I want to talk about what you'll see, the controls within the settings app. There are 3 types of controls. The first, the simplest, are switches. They're simple on, off. They look something like this. It looks like a slide switch. You don't try to slide it because it doesn't slide. Just tap it and it'll change from one state to the other, from off to on or on to off. It's just an on-off switch. So just tap it. You can tap anywhere. Usually you can tap anywhere in that area and you'll switch the state. But 2 other controls, button switches, where here you tap a button, or a round circle, and you'll get, for timeout, for example, you'll have a dozen different items to tap, and you select one by tapping on it. Or some of the buttons can have multiple selections. That is, you can select two, three, four different things, not for timeout, but for others. So buttons can be either single or multiple. And then the third control is sliders. This is a continuously variable. Just put your finger on it and slide it up and down. Though some sliders are discrete steps, and you move it or tap it, and you can select discrete settings of whatever it's controlling. This is an example of one, volume, but there are lots of other continuous controls that you might want to use. I want to emphasize this because it often leads to confusion. That is device settings versus app settings. What I've been talking about was the top level device settings, that is the control board for your phone. But some of the apps on your phone, the big apps, have internal settings as well. Google Maps is a good example. You look at a menu of Google Maps, and down here, you'll find settings within Google Maps. You tap that, and you go up here, and here are Google Map settings, all sorts of things, controls of what your Google Map app will do. And that's very useful. But we need to distinguish whether we're talking about the settings within an app or the settings for the entire device, your device control board. And when I'm speaking of settings in this talk, I'll mean the device settings. If I'm talking about settings in a specific app, I'll say Google Maps. Very confusing is the app on your phone called Phone. And if someone says, well, go to your phone app, do they mean go to the phone app settings, or go to your quote phone settings, i.e. your device settings? So that could be confusing. And I'd always suggest saying, I mean your device settings rather than phone settings, unless you really mean the settings within the app Phone. So it's a little point, but it can be confusing. Now here's another aspect of settings in phones: Android phones versus Apple phones. The in the U.S. It's about 50-50%. Half of the users are running Android operating system, Android phones. The other 50% are running Apple phones. And they're quite different. Apple is very uniform in its interface. Apple controls the software, controls the manufacturing of the hardware. Everything is highly integrated, and changes are done in a very controlled manner. Android is different. Google writes the core software for Android, for the Android operating system, but it's open source and it's customized into many, many different variants of the operating system. And Android phones are a zoo. There are many choices, and it's a zoo. Some look like gorillas, some look like giraffes, some look like walruses. They're all basically animals. They do the same thing, but their appearances can be quite different, and it makes it complicated. So in your Android phone, your phone could be quite different from mine, and what I show could be different from what you have. Different locations, they call the same function by a different name. So it takes getting used to. Each of us has to sort of learn what our phone, where items in the settings are and what they call them. The look of the Android settings can depend on the manufacturer, Samsung, Motorola, etc. They take the basic Google core software and they modify the operating system to put their own stuff on it and to make it look uniquely, Samsung or Nokia or whatever. And then they pass it on to the cellular carrier, who also customizes the operating system. So you can have a Samsung sold by AT&T, and the settings app in particular won't look the same as a Nokia phone sold by AT&T, and certainly not a Nokia sold by T-Mobile. So there'll be a great variety of the appearance. And this is, each of these entities trying to improve, or they think they're making it better, and they want to stand out from their competition. So it drives this burgeoning variations in Android. Also, every year, or sometimes twice a year, Android will update its version. And this can lead to big changes. Android itself will rename things from one version to the next. So that could be confusing. There's just a fast example of opening the settings app, the top level settings app on 3 different phones. They all have something like display, display and touch. They have something like network. Though Samsung, it looks like, calls it connections. Google calls it network and internet. And underneath that, it's even more different. So that's the kind of differences. And finding some of the more obscure settings can be difficult until you learn where they are. So the Android setting zoo. Now, the Android phones typically have about 20 or 25 top level categories if you open the settings app. And then down from there, it branches out. All in all, there are several hundred subcategories and subsettings on a phone. And it's impossible to know where everything is. And from phone to phone, nothing is standard. So I think the takeaway from this talk will be I'll give you some ideas of what could possibly be on your phone. I would almost say what is on your phone, because what we talk about is probably on every phone. But I want to give an idea of what is out there, uh, and then tips on how to navigate through this maze of settings so you can find what that feature is you're looking for on your particular phone. So these 2 bullet points probably are the best part of the talk. In parts 2 or 3 and 4, we'll go into details so you'll see what could be there, but navigating is quite important. Also, I only use about 10% of the settings on my phone. And what I need might be different from what you need. So uh, this talk won't necessarily reflect, what you need from your phone, but I'll try to cover the more fundamental and often need settings, and also leave a comment, and if there's something that we should be talking, I can include it in later talks. So moving on, the layers of Android. It's a tree structure. We start at the top level, the settings app. It branches down into other categories, as I said, 20 or 25 different categories. Each of those branches down into, I showed on this diagram, 2 subcategories, but there could be 10 or more. And so you can easily see how we can wind up with several hundred settings in the phone. Here's the settings on my phone. Let's say I want to go to look at something on how to connect to the internet. Tap on network and internet. You get into a sub-menu. Lots of different, things here. I want to look at internet connections. Tap on that. You go to another sub-menu, sub-menu, and there you get a lot of choices. Point out a couple items. There's this little arrow up at the top is a return arrow. you hit that and you can go back to the previous menu. It works pretty much the same as the arrow down at the bottom if you're using arrows, but there'll be an arrow up there to go backwards. And just as a note, here's settings. If you want to know more about your cellular connection, there's a setting within this branch of the app settings. So how to find the settings you need. The first time you get a new phone, it can be very frustrating, uh, but it will get familiar with use. It's like driving for the first time in a new city you've never been in before. You want to get from from where you're living to some place. You got a map. You start driving. You make wrong turns. You get into dead ends. Finally, you get to where you want to go. But after you do it several times, you'll wonder why was it so hard? Because this is straightforward. I know how to do it. And so navigating through settings is pretty much the same thing. After you do it several times, you'll get quite used to it, and the frustration goes away. So don't hesitate to experiment. Um, Explore, push buttons. You won't break anything. There's only one thing I can think of which you don't want to do, which is a total system reset, which will erase your phone back to the same state it was coming out of the box. So you don't want to do that. Anything else, anything that doesn't say system reset, uh, you're not going to break anything. But I do suggest only changing one thing at a time, just so it doesn't get confusing. Change something, then go back and see what it did. See if it did what you expected it to do. If not, go forward, undo what you did, and try something else. Very important. The Settings app generally, I think almost always, has a search function with the little spyglass icon. Uh, I think like most of us, like to go plunge in and see what I can find, which is great. That's nothing wrong with that. But after you spend a few minutes, just sort of floundering around, I go back and find the search button and type in some generic name or what name I think what I'm looking for might be called. And that's very useful. I'll show that a bit later, but that's uh, that's really the saving feature of finding some really obscure things. So make use of it. It's a great tool. And also, this search function will just be searching your device settings, not your app settings. And it could be that what you're looking for is in an app setting. And there's nothing more frustrating than searching for something that's not there. And so uh, keep open the possibility that what you want is in an app setting. And then your phone probably has a help or tips icon that is useful. And also come in to the SCTC drop-in labs. Probably many of you know about this, but there's a lot of help, either online or in person through SCTC. So, the settings search tool. Here we are. This is the top level device settings app. I opened that app. One of the first things I see is search settings. Tap on that. What comes up is a keyboard. I tapped in, I started typing, I typed in Wi-Fi. Um, and then below it come search results. It's clever. It doesn't care too much about spelling. I didn't put a dash in, but on the phone, Wi-Fi is generally spelt with a dash, so it knows what I mean, and it gives me a whole list of settings that have Wi-Fi in them. And notice that the keyboard is obscuring part of the page. this, what used to be a sideways arrow has turned into a down arrow. That will get rid of the keyboard so you can see the full page of settings and you can scroll down further and further. If you want your keyboard back, just tap up here and your key, like you want to type something more, and your keyboard will reappear. So but I'm searching for connecting to Wi-Fi. So I tap the first one. It takes me to the internet submenu. And here, uh, there are two ways I can connect to the internet. One is by the cellular service, which also has settings buried in it. And it gives me a list of Wi-Fi connections, which I can turn on and off with a on-off switch. So that's that's using the search tool. It's very very useful. Another useful feature are quick settings. Swipe down from anywhere on the home screen, and you'll get something like this. On my phone, you get quick settings and notifications both come up. We're going to talk about quick settings. So quick settings are what the name implies, a quick way to get to a particular setting. Uh, these these are these are push buttons. You can tap on these. I can turn airplane mode on and off. I don't need to go into settings and drill down a layer or two to find how to turn airplane mode on. I just swipe down from the top on my phone, and there it is, airplane mode. Uh, Swipe down once, you get this display. Swipe down a second time, and you get a full display of quick settings. Here we only have quick settings, and we get 8 different quick settings. Oh, by the way, some phones, I think the more recent Samsung phones, you swipe from the upper corner, upper right corner maybe, and you go to quick settings. So every phone, could be a bit different, but one way or another, you get to this menu of quick settings, and they're very useful. Here's the phone brightness right there. I can adjust my brightness up and down. These are my often used quick settings. Notice down here that I have a couple dots. That tells me that there's more than one page of quick settings. If I swipe left to right, I can bring up another page of 8 quick settings, and then another page of quick settings. But another feature is this little pen icon down at the bottom. This says that my quick setting menu it can be edited. Click that and you can rearrange these icons. If one of my favorite often used quick settings icons is on page 3, I can move it to page 1 and vice versa. And also when I'm editing, there'll be, dozens and dozens of quick settings, and I can choose which of those to display on my quick settings page. Because even though there might be 80 or 100 possible quick settings, I can only here have 8 times 3 pages. So I can pick and choose what to put here. And this is very, very convenient. The one I use a lot is flashlight. I want to use the LED in my phone as a flashlight. I just swipe down once and turn the flashlight on. Find what I'm looking for, flash down, swipe down once, turn flashlight off. No need to fumble through the settings app. So quick settings are great, and I use them constantly. Okay, so this will be part 3. I'll talk about the most important settings. Before I do, I'm going to turn off sharing and see if there are any questions. Just speak up and
Dick, you,
yes.
It's yummy. Just one comment when you're talking about uh, you know, you changing settings and looking for stuff. What I use is I take a snapshot, before I move too far away from, so I can get back easier.
Excellent, excellent. A screenshot
A screenshot, yeah,
of where how you left things. Yes,
yeah,
great
yeah,
idea.
yeah. So just a thought.
Yep, thank you. Well, we'll move along then. Got a lot of ground to cover, so let's see. That should take us back to our slideshow. Are you seeing this okay? Did we get back all right? Yes. Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, okay. Very good. So here we are, important settings. Um, these are not the same as often used settings. These are settings you might only use occasionally or once or twice a year, but they are settings that you should be aware of and give some thought to how you want to deal with them. The Many of them are just you do it once, but you change how you want to use your phone sometimes. So I think there are 9 topics here, and we'll run through these 9 important settings. So the what I show up here is the top level. I open my device settings app. I see a list of 20 or so possible settings. At the first level, there's usually something called system settings. So I tap on that and I look at the settings for the operating system at some a basic level. And it gives a lot of useful stuff. The one I want to talk about is date and time. You tap on that, you go down one more level to date and time, and a lot of good stuff there, which you'll probably see. I think it's default, but you can turn it on if it's off, or if you want, you can turn it off if it's on. If it's on, your phone will automatically acquire the date and the time from either your cell phone service or your internet provider. If you are connected to your cell phone service or the internet through Wi-Fi. And so this is done automatically. It will also pick up this time will also be the correct time for the time zone you're in. If you bring up your phone in a different time zone, it will, as you move from time zone to time zone, if you turn this switch on, it will change your phone as you cross a time zone boundary. But these are controllable. You can have them on or off, or you can do things manually. If you turn this off, uh, you will see a menu. Like if you turn off time zone, you can decide what time zone you want your phone to display. So just a way of drilling down. Uh, Daylight savings time. Your phone will automatically know whether you're in daylight savings time or not, so you don't have to worry about. I just leave all of these on automatic, and most of the time, not all, but most of the time, it's fine that way. But occasionally, I need to step in and set things right. They don't get it quite correct. So number one, date and time is something to be aware of. Navigation mode. There are 2 types of modes of navigating through your phone. You notice on most phones or many phones, on these examples, there are three buttons down at the bottom. One returns you to the home page, one takes you back a page, one takes you to essentially the history of apps you've used and the state those apps are in. So this is the three button navigation, which I think is most common. But you can change that to gesture navigation, where these functions and more are replaced by a swiping. Instead of a home page button, you swipe up from the bottom. I used that for a while, for a couple years, and then some apps you swipe and do different things, and in the end, I went back to the traditional three button navigation. It just felt more comfortable for me. But others, they just love gestures and they do it that way. So it's totally up to you. I wanted to say there's more than one way, though. I talked about a tree structure. Some of the lower levels of the tree structure, there's more than one path down to them. You can get to this navigation mode bottom page via the display top level as well. So sometimes there are multiple ways to get to a setting. Second device setting to talk about is backup. Hit on that, and you go to this screen called the backup screen. This is backing up what is on your phone. It's quite important if your phone is lost or stolen or damaged. You don't want to lose all of the stuff on your phone if that were the only copy. I would say most important are photographs and from family trips and sometimes very precious photographs. You want some form of backup. But also your text messages, the history of your text messages. It's very convenient to pick up a thread with someone where you left off, or look back, what you said to someone you hadn't text with for a month, see what you said last. But so this history of text messaging is important. So by backing up, you can back up all of these all of this data, phone data. Google One is the backup service. You get 15 gigabytes free if you have a Google account. And this tells me how much of my free 15 gigabytes I'm using. You could go to managing that if you wanted to work on it a bit. And you have some control over what on your phone is backed up. So here's a list of what on my phone I'm backing up to Google One. I'm still using the free backup. I'm not paying for it yet. If you get over 15 gigabytes, to get more, you'll need to pay for it. So I'm still in the free range, but I'm looking at my apps, the settings of those apps, the app data, the app cache are backed up. My messages are backed up. My call history is backed up. What I have off are photos, because photos, especially videos, can chew through that 15 gigabytes very quickly. And so I back photos up, but I do it differently. I do it through other ways. I won't get into all the ways you can do it, but you can back it up to your computer. You can back it up to other cloud services. Lots of ways of doing it, but I don't do it automatically. Otherwise, every snapshot you take, which can, and only 1 out of 10, at least in my case, are of any real value. Every photo will be backed up, and so I prefer to have more control over that. Anyway, some form of backup you should be looking at. I would consider how you want to handle that. Okay, another top level menu item is security and privacy. I think this is very important. Device unlock. Tap on that, you get to this page. Your phone starts out being completely unlocked. That is, when you tap on it, you enter the phone or you have to swipe up. It offers no protection. Here we put in a level of protection so only you can open your phone. That's important even if you're not doing, very sensitive actions on your phone, like banking or purchases or credit card purchases. But even if you're, just using your phone for email and or just web browsing or phone calls, um, someone can pick up your phone and find information, um, but also they could do a lot of mischief. They could delete your emails. They could change the password to your email account just out of mischief. So they can lock you out of your account. They can do a lot of stuff if they just pick up your phone. So some sort of screen lock I would say highly recommended. So tap on screen lock. You have to verify you are who you say you are in some way, but it gives you the choices what kinds of screen lock. None, swipe, offer really no protection. A pattern is quite useful. You'll get a grid of dots, and to unlock the phone, you have to draw a pattern of your choosing to get through the lock screen. A PIN number, four digits. I think you can make it more, 5 or 6. I'm not sure. That wouldn't be on all phones, or a more complex password. So it gives you lots of options. There's also fingerprint unlock depending on your phone, the type of phone you have. Theft protection is interesting. This you can turn this on. How does it know that your phone was stolen? If by the built-in GPS, it knows where your phone is, and if your phone detects a sudden acceleration, like it was grabbed from your hand, and your phone starts moving rapidly down the street, it assumes your phone has been stolen, and your phone will lock. I don't know how well this works, but it's kind of a cute idea. Never tried it. Security and privacy. Several important items here. Device finders. This is quite important. If you misplaced, lost your phone, you can find your device. Tap on device finders or whatever your phone calls it, and you'll go to a web page. On my phone, it used to be called Find My Device. Now it's changed to Google's new phrase, Find Hub, which is a service. Um, so you get to this page. It's important that you make sure this is turned on. It's an on-off switch. Um, you have a choice, but I would recommend turn it on. It means your phone can be found if it were to be lost or stolen. Uh, it gives you many features, remote lock, uh, and I'll get back to that in a moment. Basically, uh, there are two ways of proceeding from here. One is, okay, if you lost your phone, of course you're not looking at the screen. You've gone to a friend and asked to use their phone, and so you're using a friend's phone or a family member's phone. You tap Find My Device app, and it will open an app on your friend's phone. And if you know the name and password of the Google account on your lost phone, you put that in, and bingo, it will display a map showing where your phone is. And that will be accurate to about 10, 15 feet, something like that. And there you are. Uh, the most amusing example, my wife came in and after a while said, "Oh, I left my phone back at that store I was at." So we bundled into the car and she was driving back. Oh, they close in 5 minutes. There were, 10 minutes, we have to hurry. And so while she was driving, I fired up Find My Device and tapped this. And I said, well, it says here that your phone is now moving quickly down Rogers Road, which we were driving down. And so the phone was sitting, had dropped under the seat of the car we were in. We pulled over and there was the phone. So that's a nice example of how Find My Phone works. Oh, the default is just to dial your phone in case it's sitting under a cushion or something. But sometimes your volume is off, your ringer is off, and so this works. Also, you can do it through web. If if you don't, if your friend doesn't have a phone, but uh, you could use a web browser to do the same thing, going to Find My Device. And once you're in the Find Hub app, there's another feature I won't talk about much, but is to find people. You can share your location. Family members can share or friends can share their location with each other. That has a lot of uses. We can talk about that offline or come to one of the help labs. That's another fun app to use. Okay, moving along, security and privacy again. App security. Google Android has a built-in virus protection called Google Play Protect. It periodically scans your apps and your phone for malware and any harmful apps. This is turned on by default. I don't think you can turn it off, though that probably depends on your phone. But you can look at it, and if there is a switch, make sure it's turned on. Um, but in addition to Google Play Protect, which scans your phone and your apps, Google Gmail and the Chrome browser, and this probably applies to other mail handlers and other browsers, but Google's Gmail and Chrome browser, they also, in addition to this, automatically scan websites you're going to for malware, and they scan incoming email for virus and attachments. So there are other protections going on besides this, but it's good to know about this and to check it periodically. Oh, if you tap this, if you can do a scan now feature or a button that if even though Google will scan your phone periodically, if for some reason you want to do a scan right now, you can tap a button and do that. Okay, another setting under security and privacy is system updates. So again, periodically, your Android phone will update its software. Quite often it'll do security updates, virus protection updates, but it'll also do full system updates. And this will come up somewhat automatically. It will download the update and give you a notice that it's going to update. So it won't do it while you're busy using your phone. It has some smarts about it. It'll tell you that it'll update while you're sleeping because it knows when you stop using your phone and when you start using it every day. And it knows when you're not using it. And so it'll find a time when you, during your normal sleep pattern and you're not using the phone, it'll do the update automatically, or you can trigger the update. And the the other area you can get to this page by under the system category as well. And there you can also update or trigger the update for your apps, which is also due to a good thing to do periodically. So both updating the system and updating the apps on your phone, both of which need to be periodically looked at. The system will happen somewhat automatically. The apps maybe probably you need to do yourself, but you can look under the system category or just go to the Google Play Store if that's where you acquired the apps. You can do app updates there also. Okay, another top level category, safety and emergency. Medical information. Totally optional. You can type in all sorts of medical stuff that might be useful in an emergency. Very important. What you type in here, even if your phone is locked, will be available to a person that picks up the phone. That is an emergency responder, EMT, ER personnel. You can holding down the power button, bring up an emergency screen, and this information will be available. It's very useful. Back here, you put in emergency contacts. This will be available too. Who to contact in case you're in an auto accident or something. Personal safety. More information about you that can be used in an emergency. So it's a very good feature. What would you tell an EMT if if you had an accident and were unable to speak? What would you want them to know? So it's good to put something like that in there. I won't spend a lot of time on personal safety. That's somewhat useful. You can set it up so that if you're out hiking in a remote area, your location could be shared with, friends or family or somebody, and other instance. Or you can call 911, though you could do that. There are other ways of doing that as well. Anyway, you should look at this and put in something, whatever you feel comfortable with. There's under the device apps, there's a category called apps, and it gives you a lot of control over the apps that are on your phone. I have 99 on my phone. The most often used, or at least when this screenshot was taken, the most frequently used were that. So you can see all the apps. If you tap on any one of these, you'll get details about the app, more information, more control over the app. You can remove the app. You can pause the app. You can clear the cache in the app. You have a lot of control over the apps via these settings. I like this one down here, default apps. You tap on that. Oh, sorry, no. Oh, yeah. Tap on that and you go to what apps your phone will automatically use if you get a phone call or a text message or whatever. What apps it'll automatically bring up. Scroll further down this page and you come to something called unused apps. Your phone is keeping track of what apps you don't use. And it was telling me it's been 6 months since I've used these apps, which is very useful for house cleaning. It just reminds you that there's stuff on your phone you're not using, and it's a good idea to clean things up every now and then, get rid of apps that were useful a year ago, but you don't use anymore, get rid of the app and all of its files, temporary files, cache files, all the stuff it's carrying around. It's housekeeping. So it's a good housekeeping tool, this this selection called unused apps. So that's okay. So that's what I would call it, you know, used useful apps, things you should look at. We'll take a break. I'll go out of screen sharing and see if there are any questions. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Either you're muted or or there are no questions. Okay, I'll go back to screen sharing then. Okay. Are you seeing the slides? Give me a wave or a thumbs up if you're
Yes.
okay. Very good. Okay, we're rolling. So, part four. These are often used settings. I wouldn't say they're the most important. I talked about what I think are the most important apps. These are, apps that I use a lot, and maybe others would use a lot. And I think there's, 7 or 8 of these, which we'll run through. Let's see. So, top level category of network and internet. Connecting to the internet, I use that as an example. Hit on that. It takes you to this page. Here it shows you about your cellular carrier, and this little settings button gives you a lot of control over your connection to your cellular carrier, including in there would be an on-off switch, I think, that you can temporarily disconnect from your cellular carrier. That might be useful sometime. Especially, I've used that when traveling abroad. Sometimes I haven't set up something different. You might be facing a stiff a minute by minute charge if you're making a cell phone call from some place out of the country. So there might be occasions when you want to turn off your cellular connection and just use your Wi-Fi connection. Or conversely, more often, you want control of your Wi-Fi connection. So here it gives you a menu of all of the available Wi-Fi connections at the moment this snapshot was taken. Some are my local networks. Some are my neighbors' networks, which are coming in weekly, and some are networks that I've used a long time ago. So you have control over that. Very useful up here is a reset, an internet reset. That sometimes when your connection just isn't working, and for some reason it's stuck. Well, the basic fix for most many things on a phone, or 90% of the problems, is to reboot your phone, and it often takes care of the problem. Well, if you don't want to do that because you have a lot of other stuff going on, um, you can reboot the network adapter on the phone, and only that, which will shut down and bring back up the network software on the phone. And so it's a more targeted way of trying to troubleshoot a problem. So that's a useful button, which from time to time I just fire that up, and it clears up whatever problem I'm having. So I don't know how common this is, but it's something that might be on your phone. And okay, going back to the category of network and internet. Uh, the SIM card is the means of connecting to your cell phone, your mobile phone carrier. Um, Here, yeah, you can turn that on or off, and oh, you can control whether you can download data. That is, your cell phone carrier can give you a phone call, or in addition to that, it can be a connection to the internet. Well, again, if you're depending on your plan, and especially if you're out of country, this could get rather expensive. So you may want to turn that off. Um, but still have cell phone service. So you have controls on your your phone's use of the cellular carrier, your mobile carrier network. Airplane mode, here's how you can turn airplane mode on or off, disabling both Wi-Fi and cellular connection. Though, of course, as I said earlier, quick settings is a much faster way of getting there, but it does the same thing. Hotspot and tethering, you can be your phone can be the source of internet connection to other devices, other users, if you want. Occasionally, if your friends are having trouble connecting to the internet, that's useful. And there's a route of troubleshooting your phone connection, which is useful if you're having trouble, especially if the reset button doesn't work. So a lot of controls there that, from time to time are useful to make use of. So again, I guess this was, yeah. Connected devices. Yeah. So that's for me, that's a top level category under my smartphone's settings app. Connected devices, most often used turning on and off Bluetooth connections. Now, these could be earphones, earbuds, devices, keyboard, all sorts of stuff, peripherals that your phone connects to via Bluetooth, which we could talk more about. But this will be a sort of a control panel. There are settings. There's a settings button to control this particular Bluetooth device, and you can add if you want to pair new Bluetooth devices. There's a way of doing that. But even though this is the most often used Bluetooth, uh, connection preferences is a bigger category. Tap on that, and you see all this other stuff of what Bluetooth is one. But there's something called near field communication, where your phone is like at paying by tapping your phone. It could or your credit card. It could be something like that. Casting, but you can printing. You can connect to a printer. Now, this is the first step in doing that. And quick share, auto share, connecting to your automobile is down there. So lots of connections, essentially peripheral connections. Bluetooth, again, control over Bluetooth by going this route. So very useful how your phone is connecting to other devices that you may have. Okay, another top level category, sound and vibration. um, there on my phone, I think in many phones, there are several different volume controls. Here are 5 different volume controls. The alarm clock, notifications, the ring volume, and the call volume, how loud the speaker sounds. And if you're playing back music or podcast or something, media volume, you can control all of these separately. By the way, you can also get to this screen via the side buttons on your phone, where you can control a volume. Those buttons the function of those buttons depends on what your phone is doing, but it's one of these five, or you can see all five of them and play around with them. If you want to change your ringtone, is a way of doing that. Live captioning um, is a way to have your phone do a voice to text, typing out what it's hearing, can be useful sometimes. Let's see. This is a long page. You go down on this top level page, and more sound and vibration. Vibrations on and off. Do you want your phone to vibrate before it rings, or while it's ringing, or instead of ringing? You can all sort of controls on vibrations and touch haptics. Um, and alarm sounds. Yeah, if you're using your phone as an alarm clock, which I do a lot, you can choose what sound is used for that. So a lot of control, sound and vibrations, a lot of stuff to play around with, and I go into it fairly often. Modes. Uh, this is this is a category. I don't know. Other phones will have it. They probably don't call it modes. The one I look for is do not disturb. Sometimes it'll be somewhere, probably not a top category, but if you just search for do not disturb, you'll probably find something somewhere. But here, do not disturb is pretty nice. Turn it on or off. You turn it on, and your phone will not ring. In fact, it won't bother you at all. Let's see if you're, deeply engrossed in something and don't want to be interrupted. You can just turn on Do Not Disturb. Beautiful. You can select who can disturb you. Um, I use people when I put Do Not Disturb on, which, by the way, kills all junk calls, spam calls. My phone never rings with spam if I have Do Not Disturb, because by selecting people, I only allow people that are in my contacts list to ring my phone. Now, when I used to work, that's not a good idea because I'd have people calling me who I don't know. But now that I'm retired, almost always my calls are from people I know. And if they're not from someone I know, it'll go to voicemail, which is fine also. So I use this fairly liberally, but I keep it so that people on my contacts can break through and my phone will ring. You can also make it more restrictive. You can just have starred contacts, which you can designate which of your many contacts are really, really important, that you want to put a star next to them. So only starred contacts can break through. And you can do the same thing back here for apps and other alarms, etc. So you have a lot of control over Do Not Disturb, but I find it very, very useful. And there are other ways of controlling when your phone, will be, active, or what it will do under certain circumstances, modes they call it. But I use Do Not Disturb far more often. So I was going to hit that little back arrow, but I see that wouldn't work. This is a slide presentation. Okay, moving right along. Top level category, display or display and touch. Probably most phones have a display of some sort. A lot of different subcategories. You can tap on brightness level, adaptive brightness, an on-off switch. That means your phone sensor will sense the ambient brightness of the room and adjust your screen brightness accordingly. Yeah, it's sometimes useful. Maybe it's my eyes, but I like to have it brighter than my phone decides it wants it. Though the phone will, if you keep turning it on, is keeping track of what you want, and eventually will learn what you want. So it will improve with time. That's why they call it a smartphone, because it is very clever. But I keep more control over that, but I think it's a good idea. It saves battery life. Why have your phone at full brightness when you're in a dim room and you don't need it at full brightness? So you would turn that on, and it makes a difference, a good difference in battery life. Uh, Very often screen timeout. Uh, if you're sitting there with your phone and you leave it to go do something, it won't stay on forever. The screen will go dark. The One of the biggest uses of battery power, battery drain is having the screen on. So the the longer the screen is on, the faster your battery will run down. So you can control that if you're not using your phone. Um, I find, a minute, it's if I'm looking at something and like reading something on my phone, or put it down for a minute and come back, and then it's gone black. I have to turn it on, which in my case, you have to log in again or something. It's it's a nuisance. So you can adjust this to whatever suits you. I find a minute is too short. 2 minutes, it's all right. Maybe 5 minutes. I wouldn't go more than that. Uh, what I like, there's this feature called screen attention. Um, no matter what you set here, if your phone detects that a face is looking at it, if its camera detects a face looking at it, it knows you are reading something on your screen and it will override your screen timeout. That's why they call it a smartphone. If you don't like that feature, you can turn it off. Sometimes these phones get a little too intrusive. Um, Very important, display size and text. Another settings. It gives you an example of a bunch of apps. You can adjust the size of the font for typing or just the overall size of everything, font and icons and everything else to whatever suits you, depending on how good your eyesight is or how good your eyeglasses are. You can run this up and down. And as you change it, this little preview screen will show you what you're changing it to. So you can see what best works for you. So that's worth playing around with and seeing if you like if you're having trouble seeing your screen, uh, even with your eyeglass prescription or something. Good to know about. You can make text bold, which you know sort of makes them more pop out more. You can make it more high contrast. It makes things look a little weird, but it sometimes makes things more readable. So look for controls like that, settings like that in there. So that's display size and text. Storage. So your phone comes in with a certain amount of built-in storage. Uh, this is different from offline storage, cloud storage, where you might, back up a lot of stuff on your phone. This is how much of the storage actually on your phone that you're using. And like this phone has 128 gigabytes of total storage, of which I'm using 36. This is the storage setting, and so it's a good information to keep track of because the closer you get to using up, locking up more and more of your total storage, the slower and more problematic your phone response will be. And so you want to keep some buffer. Uh, you don't want to drive this up so that all of your phone storage is taken up by a continual storage. And so you hit this storage setting, and the first thing it does, it shows you what categories are using up most of your storage. So out of my 36 gigabytes, 19 gigabytes are being used by apps I've installed. Um, okay, I've installed or I have 99, I think we saw earlier, 99 apps in there. If that was getting huge, I could, and another reason to go to that unused apps, toss out apps you stopped using a year ago and get rid of all of that. Images can be large. In my case, it's not significant, but some people find that images stored on their phone are chewing up because they're just stored there. They're there. Even if you back them up somewhere to the cloud, they're still on your phone if you want. And until you get rid of them off your phone, they could be chewing up a lot of your on-phone storage. So check, well, just look through it, see what's using up your storage if there's a problem. If it's, under 50%, under 70 or 80%, no real problem. But if you're, 90, 95% using your storage, go through this list and see what you can get rid of. So I want to see what apps are using up all of my storage. So I tap on this app's uh, settings and I see, okay, here are all the apps that are using up that 19 gigabytes. And it lists them in order of the biggest offenders. Well, the Google Photos app is using up, 1.5 gigabytes. It's the biggest offender. Uh, and so if I were nearing, using up my storage over here, I could go to I could tap here and specifically look at the storage in the Photos app. This is different than going through the app setting and looking at the app's control. There's some overlap. But this gives you a more detailed look at the storage itself being used by this particular app. And the size of the app is one thing. That's just the size of the software to run the app. User data is how much of essentially photos and videos I have stored on my phone. Cache is a temporary storage, which also can build up quite large. If I download a photo from the cloud or someone else's cloud to my phone to look at it, it's stored temporarily. But I like that because if I'm showing someone's photo on my phone to someone else, and then I show it later to someone else, I don't want to have to download that phone or that video every time, but it is being cached. So the second time I show that photo, it turns on immediately. But that accumulates. That can be very big. So find, what app is using up your storage if you're in trouble, and then look at what you can get rid of. I can clear the cache, which does no harm at all. Just that the next time I want to show that photo to that friend, I have to download it again on Wi-Fi, hopefully. If I really want to get aggressive, I can clear the storage, which will clear the photos off the phone. Now, if they're backed up, no big problem. I can restore them to my phone, or they're backed up, I can do something else with them. That's why have 10-year-old photos on your phone. Very seldom are you going to use them. Make use of your backup. Anyway, that's the idea. You can control, you can, work through your storage. This is storage on your phone. Battery. Okay. Here, top level setting. Here is the amount of battery left on my phone. I can look at the details of battery usage. Percentage used since the last full charge. Useful? Is it plummeting down or is it slowly drifting? Well, it's slowly drifting down. And screen time, since it's the big battery hog, and this is how long I've had my screen on. since the last full charge. So yeah, that's probably using up a lot of it. And then you can view by apps. I can see if I have very little screen time, I can look and see what apps are charging, or sorry, what apps are using up the battery, and maybe change my use of those apps. But I can tap on this. Oh no, sorry. I go down here to charge optimization. This is, what's using up battery. This is charging your battery. Oh, by the way, I always have battery percentage being yes on for showing the percentage on my home screen. That's a nice little feature to have on your home screen. Charge optimization. Uh, Recycling the charge of your battery slowly deteriorates it. Full charge down to zero, full charge to zero. Do this, 500, 1,000 times, and your battery performance, its ability to hold charge, deteriorates. So there are optimum ways of charging. Slow charging, that is, only charge it when you're going to leave the phone, for a period of time. When you go to sleep, for example, plug it in when you go to sleep. You don't fast charge it. You don't ram it as hard as you can because your phone knows you're not going to wake up for 6 or 8 hours. So if you have adaptive charging on, it sort of knows when you wake up and will slowly charge your phone. And this is good for battery. That's a good feature. And you can turn that feature on and off, of course. 80% limit, don't charge above 80%. That's also healthy for your phone. But if you got things to do, I want 100% charge, and I got lots of work to do, and I'm running around. Maybe you want to charge it to 100. So your choice, but there's a setting. That's what settings are all about. You personalize it to what you need, and you personalize it, day by day, what you're doing. So, but anyway, you get to that setting through the battery category of your device settings. About phone is a sort of a general category with all sorts of stuff about your phone, including your phone number in case you forget it. Uh, that does happen, especially with a new phone or a new phone number. That's where you find what your number is. Because I know my friends' phone numbers, but I don't always remember my phone number because I never call it. All sorts of things about your phone. Android version is useful. When this screenshot was taken, Android 15 was the latest version. 16 is the current version. Model information about your phone built into your phone. Anyway, it's very descriptive. This setting is about your phone. So that's about it. And I guess we're running out of time, so we do have time for a few questions. Also, this was a sort of a fast overview of settings. Very helpful are the drop-in labs that SCTC offers. In person Tuesdays and Fridays, essentially every other week. Online drop-in Zoom meetings like this, tutoring really like this. This is smartphone tutoring, essentially one-on-one help, but only for smartphones. Go magazine, personal coaching, yeah, and talks like this. I guess I should put on there also. So that's about it. But these resources are really, I think, extremely valuable step. So I will stop sharing and take any questions, and we can wrap it up for today.
Dick, this is Abby again.